Welcome back to another episode of the Podcrastinators.
We got a special one for you today.
Yep. Cameron and I are actually gone this week, so we decided to pull from the Podcrastinators Vault, an old episode that we didn't want to just let sit and gather dust.
Yep. Didn't want to let it die.
Yeah.
It was good enough to see the light of day.
It was good enough to see the light of day, exactly. And we played through The Last of Us 2 when it initially came out. And we went through the story thoroughly and talked about the game. And we just are cracking jokes and having a good time. So we hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we thought it'd be timely to release it right now with the show coming out. And yeah, no better time to release it than now.
That as well. And be on the lookout for our talk about the full season of the show, the first season, coming out here soon.
Yes, we will be covering the first season. So, yeah.
Anyways, we hope you enjoy.
Yay.
Also, spoilers for the first two games, which means that there will probably be spoilers for the first season of the show if you are not caught up. So there's that too. Yeah, I know. Like the entire time I was playing Last of Us, because I played the first game right into the second game. I played them both back to back. So I think it was like 25 hours of gameplay or something that I did over the course of 5 days. And
All in the name of the podcast.
I felt so productive.
Yeah. Okay. So we could start there. So, you played through the games. I don't know how many times you've played through the first game. Like everybody else in the world, I fucking love that game. I think I've played through it like 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm. This was my second time playing through it. I played through it when it first came out, and then I just got the remaster for my PS4 and played through it there.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was a fanatic about the game after the first time I played it. And then I played The Last of Us 2 like the day that it came out. Beat it like maybe a couple days after. And yeah, I guess so if I'm correct, you said that you were a fan of it. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I do. I actually liked it. I liked it a lot. It definitely has its issues, and I can definitely see where people have major criticisms against the game. But overall, I had a great time playing it.
My mission for this podcast is to get you to change your mind.
Really? My mission for this podcast was to get you to change your mind.
Okay. All right. We'll see if any of us are successful.
I think finally we disagree on a topic for once.
Yeah, that's true. We're typically I actually like the game too. When I first beat it, but then like I kind of sat on it for a bit, and then I just kind of thought about it more and more, and then I just realized that I think, for me at least, I think I liked it at first because I was like blinded by like my nostalgia from the first game.
Yeah, I think I don't have the same nostalgia for the first game that you do, because I just only played it the one time when it came out in 2013, and yeah, like I'm not as close with the first game as it sounds like you are, so maybe that has something to do with my experience with this game as well.
That could, yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll start out by saying the only problem I have with this game is its narrative, and we'll talk about that a bit more. I think it would be smart for us to go through just the story like beat through beat, because it is.
I think that's a good idea. It's a very story based game. Well, we could talk about the gameplay first, because that's a bit more.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could talk about the other stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the narrative is where the bulk of the conversation is going to be. I like as I've said, the narrative is really the only part of the game that I don't like, and it's funny because like I think in all other like every single other thing about this game is done so unbelievably well.
Yes, like the graphics are incredible.
Mm-hmm. The acting, the mocapping, like even like the tears when they're going down characters' faces, you're like, damn, that looks like real.
Yeah, and I feel like when video games get detailed when it comes to the facial expressions, at least, you can wind up in some uncanny valley territory, and Last of Us doesn't do that. It looks very good.
It does. It really does. It's kind of a bit of a, I don't know, the like presentation, the cost of like how good it looks though has been argued about a lot. Because
you
Naughty
think they
Dog
put too much into how it looks?
No, not that. Naughty Dog is very excuse me. According to a lot of like journalists and a lot of insider like information from the company, they are like, obviously you could tell that they are very like focused on being very detail oriented. Like even when you upgrade a gun, there's like all these super fancy animations that look really nice. Mm-hmm. But it really just like breaks the backs of a lot of the programmers, and they expect this quality of like perfection in things, and it's done in a lot of crunch time. So there's a bit of a controversy when it comes to that. When it does look fantastic, like don't get me wrong, it's definitely one of the most beautiful games on the PS4. But I don't know, for me at least, that's all it is. And for like, it's just like it lacks passion. Like it seems more of like a forced labor type deal, if anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it looks fantastic.
And the gameplay is awesome. The gameplay is so much fun. The stealth and the gunplay is awesome.
I agree. I thought the like the way you move through like buildings and stuff, like how you push A to like crawl through cracks and stuff, it really like helped build the world feel more like an apocalypse, which I thought was really good.
Yeah. Also, because I didn't realize that you couldn't go prone in the first game. Just like the ability to go prone adds so much you can do with how you deal with a stealth scenario.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the gameplay quite a bit. That was my favorite part of the game. A lot of people actually, I do agree with this criticism, but that like the gameplay didn't evolve too much past the first one. Like in reality, they only did giving yourself the prone, the grass, and
there's like the L1 dodging mechanics in the fight.
That actually was huge. But other than that, like it's just kind of like it didn't evolve too much. The dodging was huge. The dodging did a lot, I think. It's a criticism I can see. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with it. I think it's a situation where like it's not broken. They don't really need to do an overhaul on the gameplay. They can just add stuff.
Yeah, true. I mean, and also if we're speaking of that, think about how many sequels of other games have even done less in terms of gameplay. So
right, like the first thing that popped into my head was the Arkham games. The combat in that is all the same.
Yeah, until they added the car, and
until you get the Batmobile.
the car is useless. I wanted to talk about the song that Ellie, like you know did you look up the song that she plays?
No, I didn't know it was like a legit song. Yeah,
so it's done by Pearl Jam. It's called Future Days. I actually learned how to play like half of it. I'm not very good at it though.
That's awesome. Well, there's a part in the beginning when you're exploring through Seattle, and you in that like semi-open world part. And there's the record store. Is it off that album?
Yep, it's off that album.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check it out.
Electric? I feel like that might be way off. But yeah, you're completely right. There is a album of Pearl Jam in one of the music stores, and it's from that album. You know what's even cooler about it? The year that album came out was the
2013.
Year, yeah, which is the year that the whole apocalypse happened in this world.
I did have to look it up because I remember seeing that in the music store in the game, and the poster is like coming soon, and I was like, I bet this album came out at the end of 2013, and it came out in like November 2013. I wonder if Neil Druckmann is a giant Pearl Jam fan.
Yeah, I wonder too. All right, I do have to say, Neil Druckmann has been a big pussy boy about this whole criticisms. I really have lost, like, he did great. He did a fucking fantastic job with the first game. I think he shit the bed on this game, but like the way that him and like, I don't know if you followed any of this, him and Troy Baker and a lot of other people who worked on the team is responding to criticisms is just kind of ridiculous. Like, just not the way that you should react. Like, even if people don't like it, like, people are retarded. Like, there are people like giving death threats to the people who played Abby and stuff, and that's not cool. But like,
yeah,
you can't, like,
I think once you start going after the actors, it's a little problematic. But also just like once you like go into death threats when you're, that's a little much. What is how are they responding to the criticism?
Oh, there's a lot. It's really just like them being really petty against reviewers and stuff like that. I think there was one thing that like this there's a ton of stuff that you can look up on this. I guarantee you, if anybody who's listening, if you go on YouTube and just look up Neil Druckmann Last of Us 2, you'll find a ton of great videos talking about it. The only one I can think of is one person who critiqued the game. He didn't even really say anything about it. He just said that the game was too long. And then Troy Baker like sent him like some like Theodore Roosevelt quote or something, and then like kind of like went off on him, and I was like, all I said was the game was long, bro. But like my deal is like, I didn't like the story, but although it sucks, like in my personal thing, I really wish the game was better.
Yeah,
but like
definitely,
it's not my story, so like I'm not gonna like, it's his story at the end of the day. There are some, I'll talk about what I did and did not like as we move on to the story. But yeah,
there's two more things I want to mention before we start talking about the story. Did you know that when the game came out and they were sending it to outlets to review it, they weren't allowed to mention that the second half you play as Abby? Like, they wanted it to be a secret. How do you not just how can you be like, yeah, don't talk about half of our game in this review?
Well, the reason I see both, there's that and there's also a thing where like with the marketing, they show scenes and trailers where Joel and Ellie are together like in the game, but they made it so Joel looks younger. So like,
really?
They did like
some deceptive marketing.
Yeah. So like I see both sides, because it's like, yes, it's good that like I understand why they did that, and I also understand why people would be angry about that, because they they really put like this preconceived notion of such a big game in their heads and then totally flipped it on their heads. But it's interesting.
It made me think of Metal Gear Solid 2 when Kojima pulls the rug over everybody, where you end up playing as Raiden the whole time.
Yeah, but the difference between that for me is Raiden's badass and Abby fucking blows cock.
And the second thing that I wanted to say was, I think that they took a lot of risks on this game that they shouldn't have. Like, maybe down the line in the franchise, like maybe make this game more focused on the relationship between Ellie and Joel, because that's what everybody wanted, you know, to see the consequences of Joel's decision from the last game by killing everybody in that hospital. Like, give us that for the second game, and then take these big narrative risks where you're trying to tell this story about revenge. Like, I just don't, I think it was obviously when you take a risk, it's not always going to turn out well, but maybe wait till you're a little bit farther in the franchise before you take a big risk like this.
I personally really like the angle that they went with the revenge story. I'll tell you why I don't think it worked well. As we go through the story, like I think it was a good way to set up the story, and I was really about it, but then just everything else, and what you said about like maybe focusing on something else, though. After the first game came out, they were actually like, all the statements that came out afterwards was that if they were ever to return to the Last of Us universe, they would have focused on a totally different story away from Joel and Ellie. And I really wish they did that. I really wish they kept that like thought or whatever, what have you. Plan, I guess.
Did you see they're making an HBO show?
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Neil Druckmann is writing it, so we'll see how that goes.
That's dumb. Well, the first one was apparently written in like since Neil Druckmann was in like college. I think I mentioned this in a prior podcast, and like he took like 8 years writing it before it seen like the actual light of day in the first game. I don't know. I just don't agree with what he did.
All right, let's get into the story.
Let's get into the story. Oh, good. All right. Where do you want to begin? I guess we'll just start off right, like literally right at the beginning. So just fucking. All right. Actually, yeah. I'll start. So the first thing you see is Joel, and he's polishing off a guitar that he gives to Ellie. And that was one thing that when I played through it the second time, I realized that I really didn't like. That's the only time you ever get to play as Joel throughout the entire game. At the very
beginning, yeah.
And you don't even like play as him. You play as like you're essentially playing the horse that he's riding.
Yeah, you just ride the horse. It's basically their it's like showing you their graphical achievements, basically. They're kind of showing off, I think, at the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know. That's lame. I wish you get to play as like I'm glad we played as Ellie. The story definitely should have switched to Ellie. I do agree with that. But I would rather have had more segments with Joel than Abby.
Yeah. I agree. But I do like Abby. It sounds like you don't like Abby very much. I think Abby's kind of cool. I think she's kind of badass.
I think Abby is one of the like most poorly written characters.
I think she's kind of sick. She's huge. she's
yeah, there's
massive.
There's that too. I don't really. There's been a lot of argument with that. Do you think that's realistic to be that huge in the apocalypse?
Maybe didn't they base her off of like a CrossFit person?
They did base her off of a real person, but that's also in our world.
That's true.
So like I'm not saying it's not realistic. I think those arguments are dumb. But I'm saying is like
that is a nitpicky dumb argument.
Yeah, it's a nitpicky dumb argument, but I don't know. She's just so, and people say that like the male characters in the game are that big. I don't really know. Because they don't.
You never really see them with.
Yeah, you
like
don't really see
top.
Tank top like fucking.
You never see their arms.
She's huge though, man. Like she has to be having like I don't work out that much, but you do it a lot. How many calories do you have in like a day to keep like? How many times do you work
3,000.
out?
3,000. I just started counting my calories actually. 3,000 calories.
Do you think you could manage 3,000 calories with a strict workout routine in the apocalypse?
No. I usually don't even get it every day here.
But anyways, I don't want to focus on that.
Well,
whatever. Like,
right. I just want to say, right when you start playing as Abby and when you go through her little camp, there's a part where you see their like workout area, like the weight room, because they're in the
they're in the gym or the fucking football. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, they have all of their weight maxes on the wall, and Abby has the max bench at 205. That's pretty impressive.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I saw that they had all their max outs on the wall, and I was like, how can they not put Abby up here? And she's got the max bench at 205.
That's funny. I didn't notice that.
My max bench is 225, so that's pretty impressive that she's at 205.
She's a strong girl.
Oh yeah.
I like how she just punches. Cool. She just fucking punches all the infected with no regard for getting bit or like chipping her knuckles on their teeth or something.
That's why she's sick.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree. But yeah, as we were saying, during that time, I actually like that Joel told Tommy. I thought I liked Tommy's character. I think everybody in this game just gets fucked over for no reason. Like for no like just but I think Tommy's reaction to Joel telling him that he saved Ellie, or saves quote unquote Ellie, felt like good character development. Kind of.
Yeah.
Even though we like barely see Tommy, like he's as important as he is in the first one as he is. Actually, he's probably more important in the first one than he is in this one.
Yeah, I'm not. I bet it's about the same. But yeah, he's not very integral to the plot.
Yeah. Well, in the first one, he at least has like a settlement that's like big and how you have to get there, and he's also linked to the Fireflies.
Yeah.
So like you get information from him. In this game, he's just kind of like, I'm angry, I'm going off, and then that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So then you start.
Sorry,
yeah, you start playing as Ellie.
Well, that was I want to
Joel
talk about.
Goes to Ellie.
Yeah, Joel goes to Ellie and plays Future Days, which I think is such a good song that describes their relationship. I think that is one part of the game that they did so well. Like every time I hear that song, I get emotional and I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like
I know.
But yeah, then you start playing as Ellie if you want to take it from here for a little bit.
Yeah, so you start playing as Ellie and you like wake up that next morning and they're
Jesse.
And Jesse go on patrol. But the part that I thought was weird was that the scene of them kissing where they like get into the fight. I know that they play that later, but I think that would have honestly been a good thing to just have at the beginning, like the Dina Ellie kiss instead of at the beginning. Because my original thought was like, because I'd seen it before it was the E3 2018 gameplay trailer. And I was like, did they just assume? Because obviously the first time playing it, you don't know that that's at the end. And I was like, did they just assume that everyone has seen the trailer and they're just not going to show this scene where they kiss? Like, I feel like it's just out of place at the end.
I have two problems with that. The first one, which is a bigger critique, the pacing in this story is so fucking bad. The
pacing is awful. The pacing is really bad.
So many different timelines, like all the time. Like
there's like flashbacks within flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks within flashbacks. You get to like a climax of Ellie's story, then you switch to the very beginning and go to Abby, who you already fucking hate for all the bad things she's done, and she's about to, what you assume, like kill Ellie, and you're like, so I have to play through fucking 10 hours of this just to figure out what happens? I literally backtrack 10 hours. And then this with literally putting the beginning of the game at the end of the game, which is just like what that's just dumb. It's just so dumb. And then oh my god, all the flashbacks with Abby drove me insane. I hated them so much. They're like all right, we'll get to that, but anyways,
we'll get there.
I also find it really weird because when you meet up with Jesse, you find out that like Jesse knows about Ellie and Dina, and then you also learn that Jesse used to date Dina, and then you also learn that they broke up a day before Ellie and Dina kissed, and Jesse just doesn't care.
He's like, oh yeah, it's fine, whatever. You guys can do what you want.
Like that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah,
especially since like you find out that he gets her pregnant later. Like he doesn't give a shit about it. Like you think that just doesn't make any sense.
And then he walks in on them right after they hook up too later.
Yeah.
In this scene.
And he's fine.
Ellie and Dina go on patrol. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, whatever. Let's go look for Tommy and Joel.
So Jesse's a retarded character. Dina is fucking useless, man. Dina has no point to the whole story. The whole story could have been done
care about Dina.
Without Dina. Like I am all for Ellie being lesbian and stuff. Like you played the Left Behind DLC of the
Ellie
first
and Riley.
one. Yeah, and that relationship actually was like, oh, that felt good. That felt like integral to Ellie's growth as a character. But Dina was just felt like she was there to be like, just to be like a plot device. Like, and why did she go out when she was pregnant, dude? What kind of fucking moron? Like, It's so
I have no idea.
stupid. And then the same thing happens in Abby's story when like the 7-month pregnant lady goes out on patrol with them, and you're like, you're about to fucking bust out and have a baby, and you're getting shot at by fucking scars and almost eaten alive. What the hell are you doing?
I thought that Dina's pregnancy also wasn't set up very well, because there's like, you see her throw up like 2 times or whatever, but you really figure out that she's, I noticed this playing the second time, but you really notice that she's pregnant if you read Ellie's journal entries. I think it's dumb that you got to read the journal entries to find out also what's happening in the story. But the journal entries were a cool touch.
I thought they were a cool touch too. I thought that was really, that's good that you touched on that, just so we never have to go back to it. I did like the journal things. I'm not typically one who like goes in the menu and reads
Destiny, learning all the lore.
Yeah, but I felt like that was like a quick and easy way to was like integrated into the world, especially like when you walked up on things and she would sketch something in her book and you're like, oh, I wonder what she sketched, and you'd open it up. And
yeah, it is interesting. It gives you a good like look into what Ellie's thinking.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like plot points like Dina being pregnant should have been like, it should have been fleshed out more than just in the journal.
So yeah, from there you walk around the fucking town and
you learn the controls.
Blah. And then it switches again,
to Abby abruptly.
Abruptly, they fucking go back and forth so much. It's so annoying. And then you find out that what the hell, Owen, that's his name. The girl he got pregnant because Abby likes him. And I understand that they are trying to do like parallel Abby and Ellie through like all these similarities. Like, you know, both characters walking through their settlements, both characters finding out a pregnancy. But it's just so lazy. It's like, why are you trying to make me connect with a character that, like, the whole point of the story. So obviously, if you've played, like anybody who's watching it played the game, Abby kills Joel. The whole point of the story, the whole thing that put like the catalyst of everything is Ellie wanting revenge. And then they backstep on that whole story, that whole like angle that they were going for. So like at the end, you're like, oh, maybe violence isn't evil. And you're like, it's so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, so I guess we Abby kills Joel. What did you think about the first time you see it through Ellie's perspective? What was your like initial reaction? Well,
it's still like even the second time I played it, it was like hard to go through. All right, did you know the main? Do you know about the main critique that a lot of people have been talking about that?
What's up?
That scene. So obviously Joel and Tommy are like legends in the fucking Last of Us world. They're like survival warriors, like the best of the best.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of retarded that they give them their names the minute they meet them? When they know, like they have been in situations like this a lot in the first game. Like we've seen situations like this a lot, and they never give them their names. It's just like simple stuff like that.
Do they? I feel like when they run into Henry and Sam in the first game, they're like, "Oh, this is Ellie and Joel." Don't they introduce themselves to Sam and Henry?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just different.
Like maybe they thought that they were like helping out, and at that point in their lives, they're not doing all this evil stuff. So maybe they thought that they were like, "Oh, like this is some girl we just helped save."
They were gonna kill each other until they learned that they had children with them. So that's different too. And it's also a group that they don't know right next to their settlement.
True. I guess you would just have to assume that everyone was evil. Everybody's trying to steal something from you, or and then in the get world, resources.
In the world they portray in this one too, like everybody is fucking cruel. So like it just, I think it's stupid that they introduce themselves like that. The only reason I bring up that critique is because
that's the only way that Abby would have known who it was.
They say each other's names actually before that when they're getting chased.
Yeah, they're like, I'm Tommy and this is my brother Joel, and you can see it in her face.
Yeah, even if they don't have that. It is. Yeah, or when they're like blocking the door and he's like, Tommy, like, what the fuck are you doing? We gotta get out of here. Of course you would find out, but like just that whole part that I just described is just bad writing. Like they didn't need that. Like I wrote it in I just for everybody listening, I wrote the whole ass fucking script on this for our YouTube channel, but it is yet to see the light of day, so I'm using it as reference for this. But literally, like that scene could have been just made better if they walked in and Abby, like everything was the same except they didn't introduce themselves, and Abby just shotguns Joel's leg off, and then they're like, "What the hell are you doing, Abby?" And then she's like, "This is Joel," and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense."
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from, but I don't know if that's that big of a criticism for me.
Yeah. And also, just this is a bit further along the line when she saves those two people.
The scars.
Yeah, the thing that she tells them, they're like, "Why did you come back and save us?" And she goes, I cannot. It's like something along the lines of I have to help people who like saved me or whatever. And then you start thinking, and you're like, hold on a second. Didn't someone else save your life? And all right, this is also another thing. All right, I completely skipped over this. Ellie, or fucking Abby, ran off like a little bitch. So everybody went, her whole group went with her to go track down Joel. And in the world of The Last of Us, that is so dangerous. Like, that is a needless risk for all of them. They're just doing it to support her, right? And then she just leaves. Mm-hmm. And then she almost dies. Like, imagine if you went with all, like, your boys to go, like, in this same scenario. And then the main person that you came there with, the main person who wants their revenge the most, just leaves and gets eaten alive by infected.
Yeah. Imagine if she didn't get saved by Tommy and Joel. She just got killed.
Exactly. Exactly.
There.
It's so stupid, man.
I didn't even think about that.
Like, it's just such a, like, are you kidding me? Like, you just put your whole fucking group at risk. And then you watch. There's the weed sex scene with Ellie and Dina, which was just not necessary.
Weird.
Yeah.
Not necessary.
And for anybody watching, no, I don't care. We both don't care that they're lesbian. It just wasn't necessary.
Unnecessary for the plot.
And also think about this: they literally had a lesbo sex scene right before Joel got clubbed to death. Like, come on. Shit, I have to like scroll down in my notes because I kind of went off on a tangent.
That's okay. I love that I can tell you're so passionate about this game. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it in a sad way.
Yeah. So then Ellie and Dina decide to go track down Abby and her crew to get revenge.
Which Tommy has already left, which makes sense
that because they would it's go Tommy. After Tommy. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that Dina went at all.
Yeah.
I still don't understand that.
I could see it where she's like, oh, like, I want to go with you and make sure you're safe, Ellie. But then she just, in the end, it doesn't ending up matter. Because they could have done, well, also, I feel like if you read Ellie's journal, it seems like there's a bunch of stuff that happened that was way better than the actual plot from like them going from Jackson to Seattle. Like, if you read her journal, there's like, she talks about getting jumped by hunters and killing a bloater, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not, it probably wouldn't be necessary, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you go into this like semi-open world section, which I thought was awesome. I really liked exploring all of that, but the pacing does slam to a grinding halt right there. But I wish that there would have been more of that like open world type of exploring throughout the game.
I think they did that in one of the Uncharted games. I've never actually played any of the Uncharted games. I tried.
Me neither. This makes me want to go play.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried getting into it, but I don't know. There's a trillion games out there. It's hard to play everything.
Well, so one of the main criticisms that I had was just like the level design. Like, I wish that the entire game, I know it's a huge game, but I wish that the entire game could have been more like this beginning Seattle section where you're kind of exploring, you are pretty free to go explore their ruins and figure out stuff. I feel like the level design where there's just like a very linear path, it is very much like a 2013 game. And I think it works for the first one as a game that came out in 2013, but I don't know if it holds up as a game now, you know? Because I feel like eventually when you're exploring each little area, you're eventually just going to randomly find where you need to go just because there's only one place to go. I wish there was just a bit more open world exploration parts, because I feel like, we're kind of past the point in games where we're like we're looking at linear level design like that.
I didn't think it was, there were a lot, I would say like linear in the sense that I see your point, but I don't think they're too linear. Like, obviously it was a start, it was a lot less like explorative, but you can go about like different areas through a myriad of other things. I would actually say that the level design was done really well.
The level design is good, but I think just like the level progression actually is what I should say. The level progression is what I didn't like, because what I didn't like was when you would get to a new area, you would get cut off from going to the area you were last at.
I see that.
So like if there was something that I didn't get to like explore, then I can't go back to that. Like my example of this is Snake Eater. Like, you can basically go anywhere in that game. Like, you can
literally go back to the beginning of the game.
You can go all the way back to the beginning of the game, which that's just kind of what I would have preferred, is not being cut off.
That makes sense.
From where I just was. That also diminishes like the replay value for me. Like, it's way harder for me to, if I wanted to 100% this, it's way harder for me to like, because I'm gonna have to play through the entire story in order again.
Yeah, you'll walk through a door and then you'll be like, fuck, I didn't know that door was like cutting me off to the next section.
And then you gotta start over.
Speaking, just real quick, this popped in my head. I do have to say the puzzles in this game were done.
The puzzles are much better. Because in the first one, it's just the dumpsters and moving the raft for Ellie.
Yeah. And then whenever you tried to get into like a secret room, it was always you just had to have a shiv on you. But in this one, there's like, you can like break windows and throw a rope and like crawl around. It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
I did think the puzzles were done a lot better.
What did you think of the safes?
It's fine. I don't really have anything.
I liked it.
Like pro or con for that.
I did see one review where some guy didn't really like the safes, that it was just a time waster. But I think it was cool. I think it's cool to like explore around, and it actually gives me a reason to read the notes that you pick up.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I read every single note. Like, I love that shit. Like, literally the best part of the world building in this game is done well. I think really well. Like, I really enjoyed. I read, like, I'm just that type of person. Like, when I played through Resident Evil 2 and stuff like that, I like, whenever I get a note, I'm the type of person to like pick it up and read it. Yeah. So I really did enjoy that aspect of it.
Was there, because I didn't read all the notes, I read some of them. Was there extra stuff about the whole like Seraphite group and what their like, what they believed and why they were hanging people, like their whole death cult thing? That's what I wanted to learn more about in the Abby storyline that was never really answered for me, was
I think
like the backstory behind the scars.
It was more just like perspectives from like the wolves and the Seraphites. Not too much about, because the whole point of the story is like, oh, there's these 3 different groups and they're all so different, but also they're the same.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they did go into that and I missed like some notes or something on that, but I don't think so.
So the next part in the story is Dina and Ellie get to the theater, and yeah, they kind of make camp there. And
then they find out Ellie finds out Dina's pregnant.
and then you get to play the guitar a little bit. What did you think about the guitar playing scenes?
That was really cool.
I do like the guitar.
They actually got the like actual like finger positions for the chords too correct, which
that's cool.
It's one of those things where it's like that's really neat, and like they didn't need to do that, and I'm glad they did.
It's the little details that impress me in these games, like the fact that you can break every single thing of glass is so cool to me. All the little details are awesome.
Well, that's where I come back to like what I originally said, where it's like the devs who actually worked on the game, incredibly impressive work, but Neil Druckmann story is just bleh.
You can't save a bad story. No matter how much polish goes into it, you can't save a bad story.
I would legitimately say, like, I know a lot of people would disagree with me, but like I would legitimately say like the gameplay and like everything aside from the story is like revolutionary. Like I thought it was like going through it, like there are some times where I was just walking through and I'm like, holy shit, this is like I'm just blown away about like at what I'm looking at and what I'm doing.
With the guitar stuff, I did see a video on YouTube of Mark Hoppus playing "Damn It" on the guitar in Last of Us.
That's awesome. So they get to the theater. Ellie tries to play Future Days, but can't, like, doesn't have the strength to play through it. I think that's really good character building. I think that's just really good to show how affected she is by Joel's death, which again, they backtrack on by trying to get you on the side of Abby. But after that, you go through a flashback
through the museum.
Through the museum, which
that part is so good.
That part is by easily the best part in the entire game. Easily. I don't even think we have to really talk about that part. I feel like that's pretty, like, anybody who's played through it is like, that part was pretty dope.
But then again, maybe it's like if there was some zombies that you could take out, like a bit more action. It's all character development in that. Or I mean, not really character.
I didn't mind it too much that there wasn't enemies. I don't know. I really enjoyed that part. And again, it's like, wow, like
this is what that's what I wanted, was the Ellie and Joel relationship.
And then you go out because you think, like, you hear on a fucking radio you fixed that there's some shit going down, and you think it's Tommy, and then you go out and it turns out it's Jesse. Yay.
I thought that part of the game was really hard, like right when you get the bow and all the people are in the neighborhood. That was another thing that I didn't really like, was I felt the end of like each act, they kind of were just like, oh, we don't know how to end it, let's do a chase scene. Like almost I felt like almost every act ended with a chase. Like when you're Abby and then Joel saves you, and then going out of the TV studio, and then running out of the neighborhood with Jesse.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of chase scenes in this.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I felt like they were just like, how do we end this? Chase scene? Okay, cool.
I will have to say, I know you like Abby's campaign. I like Ellie's story way more, except for the ending, which I think is just stupid. I like Ellie's story like way more. I think I hate Abby's like whole incorporation into this, but her campaign is so much more fun. Like,
her campaign is so
cool. Like, there's so much cooler set pieces that you have to like run through that you just like don't see as Ellie.
Burning village. And
or the sniper. So cool. The sniper fight was sick.
But yeah, the sniper fight is so cool. But
then
sniper fights will never be beat by the end, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah,
Metal Gear Solid 3.
I forgot about that. Did you ever do the thing where you waited, like you set the time past it?
No, I've never done that.
I want to try doing that. I forgot about that fight. That is a great fight.
Because isn't it, if you do that, it takes away something like later in the game? Oh no, you can like snipe him earlier in the game, and then it's just like you have to take out some random grunts.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he's in a wheelchair. Like while you're looking at people on the dock. Yeah. All right. Sorry, we're getting distracted by Metal Gear. That could go on for a while.
Yeah.
So you see Jesse, and there's just nothing important to talk about. Jesse is such a useless character.
Yep, Jesse is a useless character.
And then you get another flashback. Yay!
Which flashback is this? Is
This
it
is-
the one
this
where
is the one
they're
where
looking
you-
for the strings?
Yeah.
And you fight the bloater?
And again, this is like another like my favorite parts in the game, ironically, even though I hate how much it hurt the pacing of the story, were the flashbacks.
Flashbacks with Joel.
Yeah, because at the ends, when the bloater's about to kill you and Joel goes ham on it, you can like literally tell that he was like panicking, like seriously like frightened that he was about to lose Ellie. And like it was just the way they act and I don't know why. I don't know why I did it different. But yeah, that part was good.
Mm-hmm. After the flashback,
You go to the hospital.
yeah, when Ellie jumps, like she grabs Nora and then like jumps into the spores. That part is so cool. That part was so cool.
I thought, and then the way
Ellie
she killed
is a
Nora.
psycho. Yeah, she's a psychopath.
That's good. Like that's really good. Like it makes you uncomfortable and it like puts you like it's uncomfortable. They make you hit her, making like connecting you more to the story, which is really smart. So like they made you feel like you were doing the action.
Mm-hmm.
So as like uncomfortable as Ellie is doing it, but like she has to because like it's for Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, like she doesn't kill Abby at the end, so she does all these fucking atrocious things that's so against her being and loses all her friends for fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because all right, we'll get there. And then after that, Ellie goes to the aquarium, kills the pregnant girl.
Oh, wait. I want to talk about that one scene before that. I don't know if it's Seattle day 2 or day 3, but when the first part with the stalkers, the stalkers are scary.
I did like the stalkers.
I love the parts with the stalker. Those are the hardest parts. I also the difficulty of the game I thought was pretty easy. I think I might have died maybe 10 times. Like it, I thought it was a pretty easy game.
I think
maybe
I
that's
played
because
it.
I played the first game back to back, but I was like, I thought it was pretty easy.
I think I played it on hard. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember too much about how I felt about the difficulty though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely too sure.
But yeah, that was the only part that I felt like scared because of the horror parts was the stalker part. So one of the things that I liked about this game was the encounters are like pretty fun. They like when you end an encounter, you're almost out of ammo. You barely have any health. If you like go guns blazing and you don't stealth it. Like I thought all of the encounters were pretty cool. Like
I love the gameplay. No, I'm in total agreement with you. That was like
the
fantastic.
gameplay is so awesome.
Are we talking? Wait, I'm thinking. Is it the stalkers the one who like pop out of the wall, or who's the ones? Are you talking about the new zombies? What are the new zombies called?
The shamblers.
Shamblers. That's right.
The stalkers are like the silent ones that you can't see.
Yeah.
When you go into the listening mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I just had to clarify that for myself.
Before she gets to the aquarium and kills Owen and Mel, there's the bloater fight in the arcade. And I feel like at this point in the franchise, this is the 3rd or 4th bloater boss fight. Like, let's change it up a little bit. I know they change it up later as Abby, but I'm tired of the bloater boss fights. Like 2 Molotovs and they're down. Like
I was just about to say,
easy.
You just throw a Molotov, shoot them twice with your shotgun, and throw another Molotov, and they're fucking donezo.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of the bloater boss fights.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that's also because you go to the aquarium, but you go that way by like riding a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before all that, you're actually with Jesse, and then like they're like, I don't even remember what they really argue about. Like Jesse wanted to go see if Tommy was somewhere or some shit like that.
Jesse was trying to go save Tommy, but Ellie was more concerned about killing Abby.
Yeah, which it was just like, I don't fucking care. Let's just, if you guys
I was like,
go,
just let me go kill Abby. And I thought the game was going to be over at that point because you're already like 13 hours into the game and you're like, oh, this is going to be the final fight with Abby.
I wanted to kill Abby so bad throughout, because I literally took it as like, obviously not as personal as Ellie, but like the story that they built up with the first one and like how the angle that they went with this is like they did a really good job of making you hate Abby. Like they did a very, very good job of being like, fuck Abby. She literally killed Joel. And like, yes, I think Joel should have died. He obviously has done stupid shit.
Yeah, I can see why she killed Joel. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of, because it's also like, I don't know, man. There was never like, oh, I could have been eaten alive if this guy didn't save me. Maybe I could just shoot him in the head. No, I'm gonna brutally beat him down with a golf club.
That is a good point.
It's yeesh. But yeah, they go to the aquarium. Ellie kills the pregnant bitch. Oh no.
Mm-hmm. And then
she gets all sad. And then she drops her map, which, what a fucking awful plot convenience that.
Yeah, that is the one thing that I'm like, that is a stupid thing to just drop your map. How? I mean, she did freak out.
And it's funny, when Abby looks at the map too, it's like literally like 14 arrows like pointing to a circle of where they're at. And you're like, wow, you couldn't even like made it like a code at the very least. Like, it's like, we are here.
Oh. So then you switch to Abby, and she's got the 205 bench.
And she yeah, and then you work out for like 4 hours in the game.
I like the part when you get to play fetch with the dog.
I like the part when you run out of creatine and you have to go to the local store to try to find some.
Or the part that she takes too much creatine and then there's not enough water to compensate for that, and then she has kidney failure.
And then she does find water, and then it bounces out, and then she starts ripping zombies in half.
Yeah, with her bare hand. She starts Mortal Kombat fatalitying them.
Yeah, and everybody's like, Jesus, Abby, can you calm down?
Where's Joel?
Where's Joel? Wait. So you go... It starts off with the flashback with her dad, right?
Yes. I think that's the very first part as Abby.
And then you go through her base. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. That part was dumb. Mm-hmm. Again, it was just all the things where it's like, oh, wow. It's like so on the nose.
Her dad is like the super cool, chill guy. Like, her dad just is like
Joel, wow.
He saves zebras.
I hate that. That's such a lazy writing. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to care about this character. I literally went halfway across the world. You're trying to compare this character to Joel and create that same relationship so we feel the same way.
In like a 7-minute scene.
Yeah, in a 7-minute scene, and the way you try to do that is to be like, oh, this guy saves animals because everybody loves animals. It's like, bro. So cliche.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Abby's just a shitty ripoff Ellie.
But I think Abby's pretty cool. I think she's cool. And then, because you get the one scene where my PlayStation just made a sound. So you get
no, it's fine.
You get the scene where she gets like hung up by the scars, and then she gets saved by the two kids, Lev and Yara. Yeah. And then that part I think is really fun too, where one of them is holding the torch and all you have is your bare hands. You just have to punch the zombies away. That part is sweet.
Well, yeah, dude, like I said, fucking Abby's campaign is easily the coolest part. Like, she has so many cool things where it's like, yeah, it's pretty fun. Oh,
and then when Yara's arm gets smashed by the hammer, ooh, that was tough to watch.
I completely... We completely skipped over the part. I just realized after the whole aquarium scene, Abby goes to the theater, and that's when Abby
she shoots Jesse in the face.
Yeah, which again, it's like who gives a shit?
I was like literally, whatever. That didn't affect me.
Jesse has like, what is Jesse's character? He got Dina pregnant and he doesn't let down his friends. All right, cool.
Let's shoot him in the face.
Yeah, let's just it's supposed to be one of those like, oh shit moments. It was almost laughable when it happened.
I was like, oh shit, Jesse's dead, I guess. I was like,
Jesse, bro, you should have like looked maybe. I don't know. You kind of rushed out there a bit too quick, man.
Oh, Abby, the Scar kids save Abby, and then she goes to the aquarium and finds Owen. Maybe we skipped over one of the Abby flashbacks where her and Owen first find the aquarium when they're dating, but there's nothing that could have been taken out.
Talk about. All right, so I was already uncomfortable with Ellie's sex scene.
Oh,
which again,
yeah.
how many times do they have to pair it? Like literally, Abby's is just a reskinned campaign of Ellie's, which is just so annoying. But then she has her own sex scene, and that one was
weird.
Very uncomfortable.
Well,
yeah,
at least the Ellie one is like tasteful. Like they don't really show anything, but like
you see her like boob pecs.
you get to see her pecs.
You're like, I don't know. Should I be into this or should I? It's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird, yeah. Well, because they hook up in the present day, right? So technically, Owen is cheating on Mel, which is the girl he got pregnant.
And it's the same thing with like
Abby and Dina.
Abby, like every single one of Abby's characters are so one-dimensional and forgettable, just like all of Ellie's supporting cast. Like literally, Owen is such a boring character.
Yeah,
like I did not care about Owen at all.
I
like literally the only dude I liked was the fucking Mexican guy who gets shot in the face by the sniper.
Yeah,
which again, it's just oh wow, it's just like Jesse. It's like oh my god, dude.
Well,
yeah, I would before. The cool thing, like the reason why it annoys me, because I think I obviously don't know. I don't know Neil Druckmann. Like, I don't know what his thought process was, but like in the first game, the only time where like they use like this paralleling like thing within the story is at the beginning of the game, where Joel is holding his daughter and she dies in his arms,
and then
at the end of the game, he's holding Ellie. Yeah, and it's just like, and it's the opposite. It's like the acceptance of like him, like wanting to be that father figure again, and it's done like so, and it's not just like it's done once, and it's done really effectively at two critical points in the story where like literally the most emotional part is that part, and they both show like his acceptance to being a father, like I've said, and stuff like that. But in this one, it's like, oh wow, it's just like Abby, or oh wow, it's just like Ellie again. Like,
yeah,
at a certain point, you could start like guessing what was gonna happen.
Yeah, and I think that also just goes back to the structure of how much better the first game was. Like how that game is structured around the seasons is so good. Instead of
the winter season, I think I remember. I still think the winter season in the first one is like, holy shit, dude.
Where you
like,
find out those people are cannibals.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That part is crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts.
As cool as Abby's story is, a part that I was disappointed with was because I thought that I was gonna get to go through the whole thing and be like look at how Ellie has like taken out these people. Like at first when you come back on that first patrol as Abby and you see all the dead bodies, I'm like, holy shit, are these the dead bodies that Ellie has been racking up, like going through? And then they're like, oh, it's just like their war with the scars. Like I wanted to see Abby react to all the stuff Ellie was doing. You know, like I wish that there would have been more intersection with their two stories,
like more cause and effect.
Yeah, like it would have been
that would have been way cooler. I agree.
Cool as Abby's story is with the scars and stuff, like I would have rather seen how Ellie's decisions were like affecting Abby. That would have honestly made you more like down to be with Abby's character, to see how Ellie killing her friends has really affected her throughout the course of her story, instead of her finding it out all at once.
Yeah, I can see. I don't know. I just find that such a like odd choice to make like the second half of your campaign play as the villain. It is
just a weird narrative risk that didn't really work.
It's like the only way it's gonna like the way you're trying to make it pay off is that we feel. That we feel for Abby's character, but then you're also taking away the emotional impact of Joel dying, which is the most important character besides Ellie in the whole series, and totally like just like making the importance of Ellie's story seem so much more, like so much less.
Yeah. So then Abby decides, because Abby is trying to go back to the camp after her thing with Owen, and then she runs back into the kids, and Yara's arm is so messed up from being shattered with the hammer, and so she brings her back to the aquarium, and Mel's there, and they're like, you got to get these supplies from the hospital, and you go on the sky bridges between the buildings. That part was sweet. And then I felt like they were trying to beat me over the head with Abby being scared of heights. Like I was like, okay, kind of get it by now that she's scared of heights. Like that was one of the first things we learn about her character before she even kills Joel.
Yeah. Well, at least that had like purpose. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the things just kind of like
are there to
at least it helped. Like again, like it was trying to, like, I guess she was kind of like Joel in a way too, with her relationship with
the kids.
Yeah, what's his face, whatever the hell. Also, like I know this. This whole video game is like a touchy subject, and like, you know, I'm fine. I genuinely am fine that Ellie's lesbian. I don't really care too much that Abby's super bulked up. I don't really think it's that realistic, but you know, whatever. It's a video game. But then also that kid is transgender, and then that's why he got out. It's like, guys, like you can't put in every single like PC thing in this game. Like, it's fine to make a statement, but like, it just is like over. Like it feels less of like an actual like part of the story and more of like
them trying to pander.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that part doesn't really bug me too much, because like it makes sense, like that there's like this super strict cult, and that's probably something that they would definitely kill somebody that's trans. So I feel like it makes sense. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know. It's just like
I agree. It does feel like pandering a little bit, that they're just trying to.
It didn't feel like they were like, oh. It felt like they're like, how can we get this aspect into the story, as opposed to it just like developing naturally. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I get it. I get that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you get to the hospital and you fight like the super old zombie, like the oldest zombie.
That was cool.
That part is sweet. That was like a Resident Evil type villain, or like a type monster.
Yeah, he was gross. He was icky.
It was so gross. They were all like stuck together.
Again, you get these like badass set pieces with Abby. Actually, the California, I do think when you're in California as Ellie, I think that's my favorite part in the game. So I will give that part to Ellie.
And then like the mini boss that you fight right after it, that's like the fast bloater. That part is really hard too. That was the boss fight that I was like, this is a new and different boss fight other than just like the random bloater. That part was super fun to me.
Yeah.
And then you bring back the stuff for Yara. They amputate her arm. And then Lev goes back to their village, and they have to go get him back. But at the same point, Abby's entire crew is going to invade the Scar Island and kill all of them. So you have to like navigate through this war that's going on to get Lev back.
Sorry, I always forget. It's Yara and what's the kid's name? Lev. Okay. I like them. I genuinely like, out of all the characters in the game, I will say, like, I've already talked shit. I literally think all the supporting characters are ass, but I actually won't say that about those two. I actually think those two were good. Were good characters.
I also think they're good, but they totally waste Yara when it's like you spend the entire day before getting her the supplies to amputate her arm, and this girl that just got her arm amputated, like it makes sense that they like need her to like navigate this island, but she just gets killed anyway. Like, yeah, of course she's gonna get killed. She just got her arm amputated.
True.
What was the point of bringing her?
Yeah. You know what my favorite part of the game was? When Lev got sucker punched into the garage.
Oh,
that was so funny. That was legitimately so funny. I feel it's like demented for me to say, but it was just so like out of the blue. Like he just gets sucker punched into the garage. I thought, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
And then you fight that one hammer, the guy with the hammer, and you like slice up his face.
Oh yeah,
that part is graphic as you like cut the side of his cheek off.
Oh yeah, you fight him for like fucking like he like you keep thinking is gonna. Yeah, I forgot about that part. That was cool.
He just keeps going and going. That part is really cool.
And then
Abby finds out that Owen and Mel got killed by Ellie.
Yeah.
And then she finds the map with all the arrows pointing to where Ellie is.
It's just comical.
Yeah, it is. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's so dumb. But yeah, I feel like we actually kind of talked a lot about. I think we've pretty much gone through everything. Maybe not in order. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we gotta talk about the end.
She leaves with. She gets. Oh, she hears about the Fireflies and goes with.
Well, I thought that the game was going to be over. I thought the game was going to be over right there when like she decides. Well, she kills Jesse, and then like what? Tommy's eye gets fucked up and his leg, because later when they're on the farm.
Oh, that's right. He's like
limping
I forgot
and stuff.
about that part. Jesus, that part's so forgettable.
Well, so I thought that the story was just going to be over right there. Like Ellie and Dina on this farm with Jesse's baby. I was like, all right, like that was like an unsatisfying ending, but I guess. And then it just keeps going and going. And like it reminded me of the last Lord of the Rings movie, you know, where there's just like like you think it's going to end and it fades out and then it just fades into a new scene. And I was like, by that point, I was like 30 plus hours into playing Last of Us.
Long.
And I was like,
the game is way too long.
It's so long. And I was like, oh my God, I just want this game to be over, because I was just grinding on this game. Like at this point, I had stayed up, like I'd played it all throughout the entire day. It was like 6 a.m. And I was like, this has got to be the end. This has got to be the end right here.
But it's not.
And then you like start playing as Abby in Santa Barbara, and I had to look it up. I'm like, holy shit, I've got 2 hours left. Mm-hmm. I got to go to bed. It's like I stayed up till 6 a.m. I thought I was going to end it right here.
Damn. Yeah, that's crazy.
I was pissed.
That is crazy. And the funny thing about that whole part too, like her on the farm, which is... I genuinely feel like if someone, like, there should have been like some script supervisor who looked at Neil Druckmann's draft and was like, dude, like, what, this is fucking all over the place. Cause like the whole point, the whole point of that whole section, like that whole segment was to be like, oh, Ellie is so driven by revenge that she will like just leave all this behind. But then you're like, I remember after that part, I was just sitting there and I'm like, why couldn't they have done that at the very beginning? Instead of, they could have just had Jesse not have anything to do with Dina, and then she could have had that same like realization, as opposed to like this fucking useless 30-minute them just hanging out on a farm, us watching like the most forced All right, you have to admit, the relationship did not seem legit at all. No. Their
relationship is really bad.
Yeah, like it was like there was just. It didn't make any sense. It really didn't.
So I just thought of this. I think that a better way to do this franchise would have been like the first game is like perfect. And then this game should have been like obviously more about the relationship between Ellie and Joel, and like Ellie finding out about Joel saving her, because there's so much you can do with that. So much. Like the first game ends on such a note where like you have no idea how they're going to react, or like how their relationship is going to play out after that. Like, she knows he's lying about her being like, there's multiple multiple immune people, and like there's so much you can do, and that's what I feel like this game should have been about, and that's what everybody wanted, was this the focus on Joel and Ellie's relationship. Like, I don't know what the overall plot could have been, but like that's what should have been. And then Joel should have died at the end of the second game, and then maybe the third game could have picked up right here. Like, maybe you start forging the relationship between Dina and Ellie, and you include all the stuff about her getting pregnant with Jesse and stuff, and then you start out the third game with her on this farm. And then that would have been a great starting point.
Also, you make a good point there, because like, imagine if like this whole game was the same except for Joel didn't die, and the entire time you're like slowly you're slowly like becoming more accustomed to Abby and like growing to like her, and then at the end Abby kills Joel and you're like, whoa. Like, and then the third game, then you like have to track down Ellie, but then you're also used to playing as Abby, so you get all the Abby stuff too. Can I completely forgot to talk about this part. You know the part in the theater when you have to fight Ellie as Abby? Mm-hmm. I was literally sick.
We missed that part.
I was literally sick to my stomach the entire time playing that. I was literally like, please, for the love of God, don't make me kill Ellie. Jesus Christ.
I thought that part was so fun. I thought that part was awesome. Because Ellie is a hard fight.
Also, isn't it kind of weird that like, so Joel saves Abby. Abby still kills, just for killing her father when she was young, which has been like, it's been like however many years, a long ass time. And then she brutally beats the shit out of and
then Ellie kills all of her friends, and she doesn't kill Ellie.
Yeah, and then she she kills all of her friends, her love, like literally every single person that has ever mattered to Abby, and then she just lets her go.
It also doesn't make sense because now Abby is completely alienated from her entire settlement. She has nowhere to go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
She has nothing left to lose. Why would she leave Why would she leave Ellie alive?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I wanted this game. The story just hurts. Just talking about it makes me feel so sad.
And then, so yeah, there's that boss fight with Ellie. And when the entire beginning of the game, when I was playing as Ellie, I never used the trip mines at all. Like, that was something I never used.
Yeah, those are essential.
And then when I did the boss fight against Abby, or the boss fight as Abby against Ellie, and Ellie's putting down the trip mines, I was like, oh wait, I totally forgot that I had those. And then I started using them in the last part as Ellie.
That's funny. So yeah, I guess now we talk about... Oh, yeah, Tommy's fucked up. We don't know what the hell happened to Tommy. What a sad ending to a character. Like, he's never... Like I said, he was never big, but like they literally just fucked on everybody in this game.
Yeah. They kind of ruin all the characters.
Yeah, Tommy's life is in shambles. Like most everybody's dead. And Ellie goes to California after leaving their farm with Dina.
That was another part too, where you read her journal from how she got from the farm to Santa Barbara, and you're like, everything that happened between this sounds so cool. I wish I could have seen it.
Yeah. Also, how the hell did you get to California? That seems kind of hard. And like a post, I don't know, like, it's not like, I mean, I guess you could use a map or fucking whatever, but I still feel like that'd be hard traveling.
Yeah, like, navigating.
Yeah.
We're too reliant on our Apple Maps and stuff right now.
Yeah, maybe the moral of the story should have been like, we shouldn't rely on technology, actually.
Instead of a revenge plot.
Yeah, instead of violence is bad.
I liked going through that little, like, the slave, like there's the people that enslave the other people. Yeah. I liked going through that camp because you can release the zombies. Yeah. Like, you can release the clickers and then they go take out all the people for you.
I find it weird that they only did it in that, like, in that one level, because it was like one of those things where it's like, that's a cool idea. Like, I really like that. And then it's
like I would my plan, I would always just like release the clicker and then throw a brick right in front of them, and then they would go check it out, and then people would start opening fire on them, and then they would just take out everybody.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I did too. And that was fun. Like, I wish that was seen more in the game. I guess it makes sense, kind of, because it's like maybe like it's a different tribe or whatever. They're doing their own fucking things. I don't know, but it was a cool little idea that we did not see enough of, for sure.
Oh, and then but with that whole other tribe, like, we spent the entire game learning about how, like, oh, everybody's the same, you know, everybody has their own thing going on, but then you just go and massacre this entire settlement. I mean, they are enslaving people, but still, it's like, all right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then there's the final fight with... Oh, you get the silenced SMG, which is pretty fun, but I also didn't really use it.
Yeah, you also don't get that much... I mean, you get to use it in New Game Plus, though, actually.
Oh, I might replay this on New Game Plus and try and 100% it.
I went like... I got to a little bit... like maybe like 2 or 3 missions into Abby's campaign on New Game Plus.
Couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't finish the game. I couldn't. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about the ending. You find Abby. She's all skinny and shit, which actually was kind of cool. It showed like how like awful the environment. Like that was good, like visual storytelling. Showing how awful the environment she was in. And then you begin your fight with her, which I am a sucker for, like, ending fights like this. Like this, you haven't played Death Stranding. They do one in Death Stranding that's really cool.
Well, yeah, or just like an end fist fight. Reminded me a lot
like
of
Ocelot
MGS4.
And Snake on top of the tanker. Yeah.
Oh, we got to do something Metal Gear Solid soon.
I know we do. But yeah, I thought that it was brutal. Like, that whole fight was brutal. You're like, biting your tongue, watching everything. And she bites off Ellie's fingers. And right as you're about to kill Abby, she has a flashback of Joel and decides not to kill her, which makes no sense and literally like makes the entirety of the game just not mean anything.
It does ruin the entire game. Like she had like the perfect life with Dina. Well, I don't know. Well, she had like an ideal life with Dina and like the baby on this farm. And she didn't even do what she set out to do. She literally lost her fingers and her family for nothing. She lost her
fingers, and she can't even play this song that was like her last, like, Joel taught her. Joel taught her how to play guitar, and that song was like one of her last like clinging memories, like to keep him alive. And now she can't even play guitar. And then like, it's also funny because it's like she thinks of Joel and then decides not to kill her, and then you're like, wait, but the whole like point of the end of like the first game is that like you realize how selfish Joel was. Like, he literally sacrificed humanity for his own selfish need because he loved her so much and wanted to be a father and all that. And then also like in the winter scene, like, all right, if this was a different story and Ellie died, Joel would have fucking like skinned whoever killed Ellie alive.
Yeah. And
it's like, it just doesn't make any sense. How, like, Joel is not the type of, he wasn't like Buddha. Like, I don't get why thinking of like, and like I've already said, she lost all her friends. She lost the love of her life. She lost her fingers. She did all these atrocious acts, like beating down that woman that was just like scarring. She basically has PTSD from everything that this woman did to her and everything that she did because of it, and she doesn't kill her. And then the game just ends.
So I think it works kinda like with how they were setting it up, because like with the flashbacks with Joel and stuff, it's Ellie is like learning to deal with how Joel's decision with the last game. And it's all about like that flashback that she has with Joel is her starting on her like path to forgive Joel. So it's just about when she decides not to kill Abby, it's like her remembering about, I don't know, learning about forgiveness. So it's weak. It's weak. It's a really weak comparison to make. And I think that's what they were going for.
I think you're right. I never thought about it like that. And I do completely agree. Like that actually does make a lot more sense, but it's weak. It's weak. It's bad storytelling. She should have killed. Literally, I personally think, like you already know my issues with the game. I think I would have liked this game a whole hell of a lot more. I still wouldn't have liked it anywhere close to how I liked the first game, but I would have liked it a whole hell of a lot more if she just killed Abby.
Really?
Yep.
I could see it.
Yeah. That's how I feel, at least.
Yeah, so I don't have as much of a because obviously you have a much like closer relationship with the first game, so you're like Joel's death obvious yeah, it's just like Joel's death didn't really affect me that much, to be honest. Like I'm not really like that tied to the character of Joel. I don't love the first game as much as you do, so
yeah,
I never like really hated Abby. I was like, oh, well, it makes sense. But
yeah,
when you really think about it, it doesn't.
No, the story is just not like I've said. I think everything about this game is phenomenal, but the story just, and that's why everybody likes the first game too. Like nobody like this game could have had like fucking the gameplay could have been like 2 squares with little pixel guns shooting at each other, but if the story was good, people would have been happy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess there's the E3 cutscene a bit extended at the end, which oh yeah,
which I feel should have been at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, all right. Also, oh dude, it just makes you feel so bad. Like literally the last thing you see of the game. I don't know. It might be Ellie walking away, but like one of the last things you see is literally Ellie making Joel cry.
Oh, that part was so sad.
And then you're that really? Part was really sad. That's what you're going to do to me right as you end the game? You're going to make me watch like, oh my God.
That part was tough to watch. I will admit that I did get a bit choked up during that part. That part was sad.
And it's funny too, because like I've been saying, the only good parts in this game is when Joel and Ellie are together, like for the most part.
Yeah.
And like that was one of those scenes where I was like, that was really well done. And yeah, she makes him cry. So literally, oh dude, it just makes you feel so bad. And I get that like that was the point. Like obviously the story was meant to make you feel uncomfortable, but like I just still don't think it was done very well.
Yeah, like I said, I think that this is a good I don't know if they did like why they were trying to rush the story so much. Like I feel like this is the ideas that they were going for would have been better as like the 3rd or 4th game in the franchise, not really the 2nd game.
Well, one of the things I wrote about in this script was I personally didn't even want a 2nd game because I thought the first game was so good on its own. I don't think that there
needed to be a 2nd game either.
Yeah, but now that with the story they created in this game, I think that they have to do a 3rd game because they can't end it like this. Like this is just...
Ooh, it would be tough if they ended it like this.
Yeah, it's just like, well, now you kind of backed yourself into a corner where it's like you really should like do something else with the story because, I don't know.
If the 3rd game entirely focuses on Abby and Lev, would you still play it?
I'd still play it, yeah.
I think I would too.
I mean,
I definitely would. I think Abby is a sick character. I think she's badass.
I can't believe you. I can't believe you, Cameron.
I think she's sick.
I think I just don't understand her actions. I don't think she's written very well at all.
No, it is very poor writing. I completely agree with you on that. There's a bunch of stuff in this game that doesn't make sense. But like I do like this game enough. Like I said, I do want to go back eventually and do the New Game Plus and play through the game again and try and 100% it.
I guess I'll just finish off. I have some like things that I wrote at the end of the script that would be a good summary of at least what I thought, like final thoughts of the game. I wrote down 6 points of why I don't like this game. Number 1 is that there is an overabundance of flashbacks. Number 2, no good revenge story ends with the main character letting their enemy walk away. Number 3, no good.
I would argue that it's not a revenge story. It's about forgiveness. So
it was a revenge story up until Abby came into play.
True.
Because the whole reason they killed Joel at the beginning was because they knew people loved Joel.
Yeah, that's true.
So 3, no good revenge story tries to make you sympathize with the story's antagonist. All characters aside from Joel and Ellie, and I mentioned earlier, kind of Yara and Lev, are extremely one-dimensional and forgettable. Number 5, half of the story, Abby's story, more specifically, completely turns its back on the other themes that the other half is set up. And then my final point is Abby, and it just says Abby. Period. Fuck you, Abby.
Oh.
But yeah, that was a good conversation. I enjoyed that.
That was awesome.
So what do you think? I don't think my mind has changed. You brought up some good points. I hate the story.
I don't think my mind has changed either. But like I still like it, and it's not like that I wouldn't go replay it again. Like, I would 100% go replay it. I don't completely hate it, but I can definitely recognize the flaws. It's not... Yeah. Nothing in this game is making me not want to go play it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. We're all entitled to our own opinions, I suppose. Even when they're wrong. But yeah, I love the game. Everything aside from the story. Literally everything about it's fantastic, but I think the story, and that's probably the reason why I don't like it so much, is because what I wanted most was the story, and it just
I don't know if you feel the same way about this, but like it's tough for me to go play Metal Gear Solid 5 just because the story is so meh.
See, that's actually
maybe the
funny.
Story is because maybe the story's not meh, but it's just like I know it's not really going anywhere. You know, like I think Metal Gear Solid 5 maybe has the weakest story, and it's just like because I've gone through and replayed the entire franchise like a couple times.
Yeah,
and I always skip MGS5. I'm like,
really? All
right, you're big boss. It's like I don't really need to play this one.
You know,
it's not very integral to the plot. I feel like.
You know what's ironic about this and that? Metal Gear Solid 5 is actually my favorite Metal Gear Solid.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's I agree. It's like the same thing with this one. I agree that the writing is weak, and I really do wish that it had a true ending. But I think Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay. I actually think the story. I literally, like, my only complaint with the story is actually the way it ended. But I actually thought the story was one of the better ones, if I'm being honest.
No, I do. I think the story is awesome, but just the ending ruins it for me.
Wow, just like how I feel with this game.
yeah. That's what I agree.
That's funny.
I agree with you.
Well, I think that's good. Unless you want to add anything else.
No, I'm good as well.
Well, to everybody who tuned into this episode, we seriously appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you whenever our next episode comes out.
Bye-bye.